TAC.
Because they offered classes this late.
Well, welcome everybody
Yeah.
to the October 8th, 2025 EAC meeting. I'd like to call to order the meeting and would everybody get a chance to look over the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, any edits, any changes? Okay, can I have an approval or a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, public comments? Seeing we have none. Let's move on to the introduction of our two new junior EAC members. So Jenna, we welcome you, and Nadia, we welcome you. Maybe if you two could just take a minute and introduce yourselves and tell us what school you go to and maybe an environmental issue that's particularly interesting to you.
Should I go first? First. Hi, everybody. I'm Jenna, and I'm in 11th grade at Alderdice High School, which is in Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh Public. I'm really passionate personally about green spaces and parks and making sure that young people especially have great green spaces and parks so that they can be outside more and just learn to appreciate the environment. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Nadia Yesko. I'm a senior at North Allegheny Senior High School. It's like 10 minutes up the road in Wexford. I really like water quality, so I'd like to be doing some water quality testing, maybe downtown where you can see like the intake for the Westview Water Authority, and at my school. I think that would be interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. And what's interesting is that the parks comprehensive study, which is going on right now, and then there's an open house tomorrow from 6 to 7:30, is speaking about the same the subject that you're interested in. So that is, something near and dear and close to this committee and to McCandless in general. And then water quality is something that I think we were talking about. Ken, were you and I talking about that? That's something that
They have done a lot of the no longer existent North Hills Environmental Group had done water testing all through North Park and all of that. So I have that if you're interested in seeing all.
Yeah, it would be.
And my daughter just did her internship at MTSA this past summer, and she was very proud to call herself a turd nerd for the summer. She worked in the lab and tested the output every day.
So I think this gives us an opportunity to, gives it a little bit, the subject a little bit new life, which we don't have in this committee right now, but maybe at some point we can take a tour of MTSA and. We have, we've had people come with different interests, and we took an e-recycling tour. We took a waste management recycling tour, and these are things that we didn't know much about, and they have helped greatly. And then we also, free Pittsburgh courses. When people bring new interest to the committee, then that gives us the ability and, sort of the enthusiasm to go and pursue that. So we appreciate that. Thank you. And now we'll move on to project updates. Let me start with sustainability. And I'll ask Melissa to join in if there's something that I'm missing, but we are right now continuing to work with the Penn State University students, 3 students. They are pulling information from our vendors in power, in gas, in solid waste. Where else am I missing, John? We've given them authorization to pull.
Basically, yeah, trash, wastewater. Sorry, it's blank me for a sec, as well as electric and gas. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And this is to finalize the last point of our march toward gold standard sustainability of a community-wide greenhouse gas inventory. It's something we couldn't do on this committee, and we couldn't do in the Township of McCandless staff. So Penn State we've joined a cohort program with Penn State for them to do this greenhouse gas inventory for the community, which will then be the last point to us being gold certified, and then we'll bring back the council. Secondly, is that I participated in a presentation from ICLEI, and ICLEI is it's a local government. It's an affiliation that services local government. It's something you would have to join. It would probably be, I think it's something $8,000 or $9,000, and it gives you tools for local climate action plan to reduce greenhouse gas, and they'll work with you, and they'll bring you mentoring, and they'll bring you socialization within the community and things. So we're just learning that right now. The next class that I'm going to take is going to be on and I do want to get you on this one, is going to be on the system, their internal software system that we would be using for the greenhouse gas inventory and potentially using it in the future.
What is it? ICLEI? Is it an acronym or is it?
It certainly is.
Okay.
I have it in my slide
Okay.
deck,
Okay, cool.
what their acronym is, because they're also doing stuff on trees.
So we will continue to explore that and learn more about that. But at this point, the ball is in their court for them to continue with the authorizations that we've given them. Any other questions about sustainability?
Is the goal to still get to gold or platinum with this data? So this data would get us to finalize to platinum or to gold?
To gold.
Okay.
What it does, it puts a stake in the ground of where you are. And then if we want to reach platinum, which if you would read the 2019 comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
the township in that plan endeavors for
To be-
McCandless, they would keep on the safe ferry, in McCandless to become a platinum
Yeah.
sustainability community. There is a lot that's involved in that. And now you don't just look at who you are. Gold is who we are.
Right.
Platinum is who we aspire to be, and we have to go and do it, put those things into plan. So for that to happen, we would have to present that to council and to management and say, these changes would have to happen. There's a lot of points leading up to that, but we're open-minded, and we're gonna find out through the local climate action plan. I would imagine it's gonna help us with that.
Good.
Anything else, Melissa, that I'm missing?
Like this.
Okay. Rain Garden, any updates there?
I've been in touch with Sorgels, as we discussed last week. It is Cameron Sorgel, who is the one who's in charge of the native plant project through them. It is going to continue next year. He is expanding a little bit. We are going to set up a call here in the next few weeks. Right now, it's just a little busy with the fall festivals, and Sorgels is a hard place to go to right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get kind of through that, and he and I are gonna keep touching base on what things might look like moving forwards. As far as the actual physical rain garden, as the season is winding down, I was intending on. There is a gap of the back wall on Garden 2 that will need to have a repair, and I knew that last year, and it was just, let's get it up and running. I think I am gonna have to like evaluate to see if there's anything else that's going on. I haven't been out in a few weeks, and now as plants are dying off, I might have a little better chance of seeing back there. I also think that with all the trucks that they have in front of it, I want to make sure they're not running over too much. I don't know if anybody has been out there, but they are putting up
What
the,
are they doing?
Yeah, what is that?
yeah, the lights. That's what I thought.
Okay, and I wondered if that was something that was going to run off into the rain garden, or which maybe that's the purpose of the rain garden.
Yeah, it is to collect runoff.
Yeah,
I don't think there's gonna be too much.
It's to collect the rain garden is to collect the water running off the asphalt.
yeah,
That's what rain gardens are for.
yeah. But what my point was is that they're doing something there, whatever that is.
Yeah, they're drawing the lines for the lighting.
Oh, okay, is that all it is? Okay, so you're not digging in.
It's not, no, it's not permanent. It'll be, I think, completely covered over, John, do you think?
Think so.
You know, once the poles are up,
Mhm.
I think the rest
Where
will be.
there was a request for pawpaw trees to put in by the rain garden?
That I actually don't know, because we did put in that request for the trees. I haven't
Yes.
heard back yet, but I don't know where they're supposed to go.
I thought it was, okay, but you
Yeah.
sent a note,
Yeah,
so you don't know where they're gonna go,
no,
okay,
it's Abby's dream.
who's?
Abby, or
Oh, Abby,
yeah.
okay, to put pawpaw trees somewhere,
They're
okay.
southern West Virginia, so there's some in North Park, but they don't tend to do real good here.
Oh,
Well, you should see what our council, Don Hart, brings in.
yeah.
Big piles of them every council meeting.
Yeah,
for
he said
everybody to
he gave it
share.
wrong. Yeah, the day of Dan's deer event.
You're at-
Oh, I ate them, yeah.
Yeah, he spoke on that
Don't eat
at
too
the
many.
library. So yeah, he mentioned that on Community Day that he
That's,
would
yeah.
speak on September 30th at the library, about pawpaw trees. So, yeah, but that's why I'm, I don't know the relationships of, trees like, but they're gonna go in somewhere on township property
They would have to be, yeah.
near the
Yeah.
rain garden.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, yeah, but that's what I mean, between the lighting going in, the
Right.
rain garden, new trees. I mean, I think that's great. I would love to maybe have the tree tenders plant them.
Mhm.
Um,
That'd be fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the 18th, as part of the class, they could go up and maybe put them in after. That might be fun.
And if the wall needs repair,
Mhm.
you could take some photos
Absolutely, yes.
and then we could get that over to Brad
Mhm.
to take a look at that.
Yeah.
It's been that way for several years.
Okay.
There was one repair and is now a couple feet down from the previous repair, but I don't know how long that one has been like that. So might as well,
Mhm.
while we're out there looking at things, get it fixed and also evaluate, see if there's anything else going on, because it's been a year.
Okay. And naturally, the Japanese knotweed would not be growing right now, and what we've done to it has been a, positive for the rain garden.
Mhm.
Did you spray or did
Brad did.
Brad,
Brad spray?
Brad had somebody come out and
Okay.
there was like a professional team that used, as far as I'm aware, a specific herbicide to take care of it. It looks pretty good out there.
We still got a lot of stilt grass, but not around the rain garden.
Yes,
Okay,
you're,
okay, any other questions about the rain garden? Okay, next up is the tree program for Bernie, tree candidate.
Okay, so, there's so much going on right now. I combined, the files, from the two events that I'll get into. We don't have to go through them, but it's the ICLEI. There's kind of a whole initiative going on that, has really kept us busy in the last 30 days since we last met. So, and what's happened is not only in the last meeting, I talked about Archie becoming kind of a co-chair, well, so is Julie. So now, it's the three of us have been doing a lot of meetings, a lot of participation in some of the stuff you'll see upcoming. So, go ahead, John. So again,
Bernie, one second, so having co-chair, this is not a separate committee or anything like that, these are just community members. There's no problem with that in a project for the EAC, is that correct?
It can just be an ad hoc volunteer group, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
okay, good.
That's all I consider it is like who's gonna help me, make the bread.
Mhm.
This is like the group.
Council loves
It's like, yeah. So yeah, this is a group that's gonna help bake it. So, and this is just the start. I mean, I think as we get into it, you see, but what we've been doing is meeting. So we met September 25th to kind of, as you all know, I've been wrestling with kind of an annual plan and who will do it. So what we determined was Julie actually has a lot of expertise in communication. Archie can lead kind of the knowledge base and expertise on, what we would be communicating over the next year. As I told you, a lot of our plan was to make it more of a communication, education, advocacy initiative, particularly in the first year. And I do have a draft in here. It's not final by any means of what we're gonna plan on for next year, and that's what we focused on in our meeting. And then we just hope to meet with the McCandless staff to finalize things. And that's it. We talked about other initiatives going on. So if you want to go to the next slide, because this actually gives a rundown from Community Day on, like all the things we've been doing. So John successfully posted our social media on both the tree tenders and tree adoption, which at this point, if we jump down to those, we now have 22 people signed up for tree tenders, and they're already telling me that, They want to talk about capping it because they never really want more than 25, so they're already giving me grief for, we may be over. But we can look into still allowing more people. And then same thing, there's 100 trees that have been, let's say, adopted at this point. That'll happen thereafter. So,
All 100.
yeah, it's 100, but what they do, I don't wanna, they actually give you 90, and then there's 10 that are kind of allocated in reserve for folks who maybe didn't get one, wanted one. I'm thinking about maybe the tree tenders class, seeing if folks from there can host one. So anyway, but so we'll see, but at this point, yeah, all 100, for the purposes of the way they do it, it's 10 types of trees, and 10 trees of each is the way that would work. But we ended up doing a lot of other meetings. Archie attended, this was on a Thursday. We went to this Connect Tree, training session. All of the documents from that session are part of what's in these combined files on this PDF. So again, I don't need it's a lot of detail. And then the second thing that also happened was Connect, we met at the Oakmont Library, and it was all these municipalities got together, and most of them were shade tree commissions, but not all. And we talked about how Connect, and there's like 5 or 6 groups, the Allegheny County Conservation District, Tree Pittsburgh. There's like a host of organizations that are now coming together to actually do work on trees, and Tree Canopy, the Tree Canopy Alliance. So there's ICLEI, so there's a lot of groups that are now coming together to figure out how to share arborists as an example, for municipalities that can't afford it. But the budget session, and again, the slides are in them. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but you can take a look at them. But that really provides guidance on what most municipalities, should be allocating for, trees and budgets. And I know McCandless, hadn't had one. So again, I know no groaning, but but I do think, it talks about where to pull the funds from, to support this. And a lot of the other communities, I guess, when development occurs, if you take out a tree, it's a replace a tree. And you don't have to do it on site, you can sponsor that. So that's kind of how most of the municipalities have been funding tree replacements.
And that's what they did when they did McCandless Crossings and things like that. They planted trees down here at North Park and a couple of other places to replace the trees that they had taken down for McCandless Crossings.
Is that happening with the new housing development up on the highway?
I don't know, because at this point, this is part of like connecting with the municipality on how the township itself.
I'm not aware of any ordinance or regulation that says that
Right.
it must be done. We do have, when there's bigger developments, rules for recreation space, but nothing in particular. From what I believe, I'd have to double check it, but I don't recall anything.
Yeah, and I think that's true, because John Swend asked me if I could get some of the other municipalities, and the Saturday I spent with the group in Oakmont Library, I now have 5 or 6 samples of model ordinances. It's not really been the approach I want to take. I kind of want to do this not necessarily based on those measures, but really how do we just get people interested in planting trees? But
The EAC several years ago had looked at the different tree ordinances and things like that, and we didn't, since McCandless doesn't have tree-lined streets per se that are controlled by McCandless, we didn't think it was really appropriate to get into. Most of the trees are in people's backyards.
well, that was kind of a shade tree commission, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think, so there was this differentiation between all the groups that were there, like Fox Chapel. There must have been a dozen municipalities or more as part of this meeting. And everybody's under assault from Duquesne Light. They have changed the way they're doing things. So it's kind of a whole conversation that, you know, but that was what was interesting is talking about these issues. Many of the municipalities do not have shade tree commissions, but they have tree groups, kind of like what would be doing here. So, but I do have model ordinances. We can talk about maybe just this, take a tree, replace a tree, you know, and it's a fund that gets set up, and that's how our tree program could be, you know, funded. Without getting too punitive, I think, with folks, because most of our trees are gone, right? But anyway.
I keep wondering where there's another place to build, but then
They find places. I know, and that's just gonna continue, like in perpetuity, you know, until the last inch is gone. So I don't think it's too late, you know, to
Yeah.
put something like that to try to preserve some of the green space in the community and restore a tree canopy. But that's what early October was about then, were these meetings as well. And then we did a training, the three of us did a training on the tree tender. Well, we did a big meeting with all those organizations, just talking about McCandless issues and what they could do and provide. So a lot of those tree groups do have university teams that are coming together to do many projects. So doing tree assessments, tree inventories. So right now they're, you know, I had a whole list of things they could feasibly do. So all these 5, 6 other tree organizations are willing to jump in and help us with doing some of the things with the resources they have or that they can bring.
There's a group. How long ago was that, John, that did the inventory through McCandless, and, you know, I had them out in Wall Park and all of that.
I want to say that was at least 5 years ago.
So you have one.
Yeah, that was all, you know, they did all the trees around here and all that.
So all the trees like are in all of McCandless or just in the municipality? Like in the township owned property?
it was like an inventory project.
Yeah,
And then whenever you planted, you could email in and say, hey, we just planted a tree in our yard, just to add to the
yeah,
inventory.
and I
But the
think 3
question
years
is-
in a row, I had the most trees planted.
But did anyone walk all the streets of the township
No,
and document all the trees? No. So that's kind of what we're talking about doing, is that level of detail and knowledge, and then having our GPS map, right? Because now you know everything you had and then what's gonna come and go. So that's what the student projects would be from the universities, and then it would be under the guidance of, you know, arborists who know what they're doing and that kind of thing. So yeah, Archie, of course, is excited about doing those kind of projects. So yeah,
Great person to have on board.
yeah, I mean, his knowledge base, he's already corrected a bunch of things that we've done. And then, you know, so just to finish though, so next Friday, we'll be accepting 100 trees at 10 a.m. I did find out in our tree tender training that there are some things to be done if anybody wanted to come and assist with that. And then John, I'd like to kind of coordinate with you on the facility when they drop them off.
Okay, yeah, I'll remind Brad that they're coming
Yeah,
and,
he has not gotten back to me, so I reached
okay,
out.
well, John S. said that he's graciously gonna offer that, and I'll just remind Brad that he's offering that.
Yeah, Friday
He's aware,
morning.
he was aware of it when I was talking with
Okay.
him last week.
Oh, good. Okay, so yeah, so Friday morning they're coming. I'll be there. What I'd love to do is stage them at that time, and if not, you know, we can stage them at some point during the day on Saturday,
What time are they coming, Bernie?
10 a.m.
Oh, okay, right.
I can come for the later, like the tree adoption part. I have something from 11 to 1, but after, well, it depends on, do you want me in costume? Otherwise, I will have to change, but after that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, that'd be great. I
Okay.
mean, you know, a little bit of help on the tree adoption. I feel like, you know, we probably need another 2 to 5 people to just help, you know, people, you know, find the right ones. It's really the protection for each tree is what needs to be, you know, carried with the tree, you know, when people get it. So, yeah. But we're, you know, I think Archie and Julie are also recruiting. So if anybody Like
So-
our
so
new,
let's
our new
be-
young
well, let's
people?
be specific. So, Friday, do you need help at 10 o'clock Friday?
I don't need help while we're placing them in, and that's what I wanna learn is, can I put them in place when they're being delivered, or do I have to change them? You know,
Mhm.
stay out of the way until, you know, the
Mhm.
next morning.
Mhm.
So that's what I'd like to know, but, the creating what they call party favors, Tree Pittsburgh calls them that, they already pre-cut all the wrapping for the trees. But putting a stake with each of them so that they're ready to go, you know, one off.
I
because-
can be there Friday.
Okay,
you know, I'm at
to
a
help
wedding on
maybe
Saturday.
make the party favor.
Yeah, sure, I
Yeah.
can be, I'll be there 10 o'clock on Friday.
Okay,
And
good.
then Saturday, and not assuming that you have, you know, an opportunity to be there or can be there, but
Mhm.
can we extend it to our new members or to be there at the tree tenders, or should we ask them to just help with adoption?
Either one, if you want to put in the hours to do an actual tree tender course, I don't know, I didn't hear you guys say you love trees. But it's from 9 to 3 that day here in town hall. You know, we'll be doing that tree tender training course, but then the adoption is not until 3 to 5. And so that's where we kind of need bodies to help out. So if you want
We can
to,
always give you letters for your volunteer hours that you may
Yes.
need as
Yeah.
well. If you,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So if you would think about that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to answer here. If you would think about that and then,
let us know.
and yeah, let us know, let Melissa and Matt will be your points of contact. If you could let them know through email, if you can attend one or the other or both, whatever that it is. And there's, you know, if you can't, then you can't. I can't. I wish I could, but I'm busy that day. But
Yeah, and Archie's gonna be with me all day and so
Mhm.
is Julie, so, you know, the three of us will be all day,
okay,
yeah.
it's a good opportunity to.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
If you need help setting up the room that morning, I can probably try to come up and at least open the door for you and, you know, make sure this all works.
Yeah, that would be great, because I think last time when we did the speaker series, you know, there were things about finding things, so,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be great, John, thank you. So, but that's it, I mean, that leads us to the 18th, and there's my map of, don't forget where McCandless is, and the green parts of it that are already there, and how we can green the rest. And just last one, this is just our projected, you know, we've been working on this. So Julie actually has been working on a much more extensive schedule for, you know, what I would call marketing communication messages. She wants to do some YouTube or some videos during the tree tender training and the adoption. So that we actually have some content for launch. A big part of what we talked about doing is having some launch videos, how-tos, that kind of thing. So I don't know how much content she'll be able to actually capture during the actual tree tender training, or that day with the adoption. But again, she's got all kind of really great ideas about using social media, and John will obviously coordinate that with you. She'll meet you and understand how that works.
So Bernie, can we somehow wrap this up into McCandless 175 and put that in a video? And, you know, this is, you know, this, of course, if it was,
One of
if
the
it was 180, we would still be doing it. But I mean, it's 175 and we could say for the 175th anniversary, we were tackling this program, and that can be part of her message in the video.
That was always the intention, which is
Okay.
why we were gonna launch it in January.
Mhm.
But, and that's what we wanted, some, you know, evergreen content as well as some other, you know, stuff we talked about. Like when people are coming to pick up trees, you know, maybe doing interviews, like, you know, guest homies, you know, where you're gonna put your tree, that kind of thing. So we have this content that we can kind of share. But yes, absolutely, tying this into the 175th, I mean, the challenge has been, I keep saying, what is the date? And I just keep hearing there is no date, it's
It's all year.
right?
Yeah.
The birthday
So-
party will probably be in March.
Yeah, that's the actual day.
There is a day in March, okay.
But then we may actually do a birthday celebrate, like a different celebration in July. There's still a little flexibility on the schedule, but assume there'll be events throughout the year.
And that's what we
Yeah.
considered this, right? And I mean, I know I waived not sitting on the committee, but Jeff knows, and yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, this is fully intended to be part of the festivities of the 175th.
Well, you know, you are doing this. I'm sitting on a committee as a figurehead and saying, yes, the EAC is committing to a tree canopy or recanopy,
Right.
but you're actually doing the work. So let's,
Yeah, but the coordination with the committee, I mean, that's
Yeah.
where, and maybe that's how we could banner this is, a project of, McCandless 175th,
Mhm.
and then that could be the kickoff to getting it going. I'm fine with positioning that way. This is why I'm thrilled that we finally have like somebody who can handle that. So I can kind of,
Mhm.
and Archie can handle more of the, the content and the correctness of it. And, for me, it's just the logistics then and the fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's something, I have in there when some of the grants are, when they're due. I want to make sure we get on the schedule this year to.
and not miss it.
Yeah.
Trish, do you know if there's anything that's happening in the school in NA with regard to Canvas 175? TikTok videos.
I think that was something that we were going to start working with our junior council people
Yeah,
to start doing some outreach into the younger community on that stuff for sure. But I don't think anything's said yet.
so Nadia, is there something like, would anybody ever share anything like this in NA, or would it interest anybody or not interest anybody, or?
About the trees or the 175th?
Well, did you know it's McCandless's 175th, and did you know that, McCandless is trying to do this with tree? I mean, would anybody care about that, an environmental club or?
Yeah, they do have like an environmental club and like a science honors club, so you might be able to make that like something like volunteer for the like National Science Honor Society.
Mhm.
I also know like they have a fair amount, they have like 3 different levels of environmental science classes that would probably be interesting to them. And I assume they could just throw it in like the monthly newsletter they do too, although I don't.
Teaches the environmental science.
Yeah,
Who is that?
Amy Bushnagle, that was who I had, but there were
Okay.
2 of them. Or I think
Okay.
3 this year, they hired a new one.
That's great. I mean, I keep wanting to connect with that environmental class because
Yeah.
I think, they would care about the issues this committee cares about.
I could reach out to her, I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to.
That would be
Let's
fabulous.
come back to that, Matt. I'd love for you to jump in on that conversation. Let's come back and think about how we can do that. Jenna, you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about this just like in preparation for the meeting and everything. I think that it'd be really cool to run some sort of social media outreach that's geared towards younger people and like a general like McCandless 175th or like the McCandless environmental account. I think that's like a primary form of communication, and when kids are just like absorbing content, that like to kind of slide that in there would be kind of nice. I wouldn't mind like helping run some of that. That would be I'm relatively familiar with like running some social media platforms for different clubs and things, so and I'm sure Nadia, I'm sure you're also
Yeah, I've done that for a couple things.
familiar with
as well.
social media for clubs, so I think that it'd be super interesting to see if we could set something up to like draw volunteers in through social media and draw involvement in through that, and maybe use some of those resources to plan some things for students as well, like some specific student volunteer days where it's like, we have a student volunteer day, you can get volunteer hour letters,
Yeah.
because
That's good.
kids love that. Like when you tell a high school student, hey, come plant some trees and we'll sign you a letter that says you came and planted trees. It's a great thing for a lot of high school students, especially ones applying to colleges. So I think it'd be super interesting to like push that out through social media and push out volunteer opportunities.
I mean, that would be invaluable. The way we see doing this is doing the large group tree plantings in the spring and stay focused on the tree tenders and tree adoptions in the fall. So we're not, at least for the first year. So I actually already requested October 17th of 2026 to repeat our tree day. So it'll be, so I've asked Tree Pittsburgh to repeat the tree tender course and the tree adoption day. But this time we'll go get, some underwriting and hopefully we can make it a lot bigger. So, and I did that so we could put it on a calendar, on the McCandless calendar, that's kind of our, you know, it's meant to be like how do we get the residents more engaged? But the tree plantings in the spring, you know,
Yeah.
this is the one where we've talked about West Penn Power sponsoring one. And one in North Park in the Arboretum. And so I think, you know, we'll need volunteers for
Yeah.
those large plantings in the spring.
And there's definitely will be an abundance of student volunteers if like you push that out through social medias and people and push it out through schools, because I know that it's really like hard to find volunteer.
Yeah,
opportunities.
something that NA does, because there isn't like requirement for like graduation hours, but a lot of students do like National Honor Society, and there's like 100-ish kids doing that, and the slots fill up for that really quick. So if you could maybe partner with NHS, make that like an official like in-club
Yeah.
hour. I know those,
Mhm.
like there's a lot of drama about like,
Right.
if you're friends with someone who knows about the volunteer hours, you can get the good hours early. So it's like, it's fairly competitive.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's where, again, you know, you guys on the youth side of this can assist with how we can make that happen. I would be thrilled to get young people involved in tree.
Talk with Matt so that you can coordinate.
Yes.
Yeah, so Matt, do you wanna jump in here at all? And
I mean, I can just say, we have talked to the sponsors of National Honor Society. That's how we got a lot of our volunteers for the litter pickup. I have reached out to Amy a number of times and not gotten any sort of response. So maybe Nadia, you will have more luck. We have been trying to connect. The only person we've really connected with on a consistent basis is the sponsor for the Interact Club, Mrs. Lombardi. So everybody else kind of touches base every now and again, maybe once a year, and then we send out emails and they just kind of go off into the ether. So you know, if you have connections, Nadia, with those folks at NA, please by all means let them know to either respond to my emails or we can contact through you is totally fine too. But I totally agree, getting more students involved is imperative.
If you know the student president of the NHS.
Yeah.
Because I agree with Matt, I've had some difficult trying to get Mr. Tendagowski to respond.
Yeah.
But I have found that once I know who the student president is, things can happen.
It's
And that
usually the
route.
other NHS sponsor who does communication.
Yeah.
It's usually not Tinkowski.
Yeah, okay. Well, he doesn't even answer emails.
Wow. Well, so you can be the communication person.
Probably doesn't answer student emails either.
Well, so, I mean, just the gist of, you know, what we're doing, again, this is a draft, this is not final. The only thing I tried landing for our calendar was next October 17th. Trying to keep it a year from date and trying to create a consistent, event. And that would be the one that we would try to make sure we get underwritten. And then the speaker series, I mean, we talked about doing at least 2, and I know we used to partner with the library, and because of construction, we stopped doing that. But we talked about wanting to do at least 2 of them, and because LaRoche has offered to also get involved, you know, we thought maybe doing 1 or 2 things at LaRoche. You know, they had offered March and November as good months for that, you know, to do things on their campus. But part of what we'll be looking to do, and I would make the request, I mean, I know Julie has this whole list of all the places that McCandless, I guess, can do social media. And she's already trying to figure out what to do when, but you know, one of the things we're looking for is instead of like our rotating McMail tips, is there any way we could have kind of a monthly tree?
Real.
Yeah, so that, I don't know if you have room, you know, I know it's mainly digital these days, but if we could do always something about trees every month, not to replace McMail tips, but additionally. Because that's one of the things Archie wants to do is like have this whole calendar of how do we convey, you know, all the things about trees throughout the year.
Maybe a couple tree bullet points, maybe.
Okay.
You know, this month you do this, because I know we do like to, Ken does his thing, you know, in January and stuff where we talk about pruning. So maybe something like that each month, you know,
Yeah,
or fun tree facts.
yeah, okay. Or tips for trees. So then we'd still rely on McMail tips for the in-depth stuff and then just tree tips, like short Okay, all right.
Well, why don't we yield a little bit of the McMill, real estate to that? And I'm just saying that, maybe McMill, I'm sorry, the monthly tip, maybe we shorten that a little bit and give you a couple more characters.
Bernie's proposing using outlets other than McMail, since a lot of people don't actually have access.
Oh,
or
okay,
notice.
thank you, all
Yeah,
right.
Bernie's proposing using like the social media outlet
Okay.
to reach.
Well, that
Yeah,
and the
combination.
additional,
Okay.
right, right,
Yeah.
well, and a lot of it, and I mean, we'll coordinate with John, but like, we feel like, again, remember, this is like an advocacy, education, it's not, let's get out there and plant 50,000 trees, all of us here around the table, it's like, how do we convince everybody that trees are good, they're worth the cost of planting and maintenance and, how to do that, so I think that's such a
Well,
big
very
part.
much like the litter pickup. I mean, before it was 20 people and
Yeah.
now it's 130 people because we convinced the community that it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same blueprint for that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the importance of tree canopy, so it is more of education advocacy as a campaign, even though there's these activities, but I know in the speaker series, which I think you and Judy had always kind of coordinated, we'd just like to, I know there used to be 2 or 3 a year, so we'd like to do 2, but maybe another 2 could be on other topics as well. So maybe we expand the speaker series.
Yeah, and I actually have that as a line item down here, but we should do that.
Okay, all right.
It
So
used to-
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think, if you want to just quickly go through, John, like just show everybody, go past these are my standard, well, go back up to that one. So this was like Rebecca's message. So this had something to do with who attended, the speakers, on the budget session. And then she also, so on behalf of the municipality, and by the way, Trish, the council members, the staff, that's what they're offering these future workshops, not just for, let's say, tree people, but for municipal staff and, other folks. So, anyway, so there's 2 more, one at the Allegheny County Conservation District, December 4th, and another one, in person, is to be determined. The other thing is the group that met, which was most of these plus other groups, the one that met in Oakmont, it was only their second convening of multi-municipality tree conversation. So I offered to host the next one, which will either be in December or January. So I will work with either the library or they held it at Oakmont Library. So we could do it at the library. I could talk to LaRoche or, because I don't know if you guys have a place big enough, but.
How many people were there? I'm sorry.
50, 60.
Yeah, it's too big for the Heritage Center.
Yeah, it was a nice
Yeah, we'd
one.
have the powers room, that be the only place that told it.
Okay, but that's what I'll look for is where we could, host it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get, but if you keep scrolling through, then we can take a look. Just, I'm not gonna go through them, but keep going. So here's these are the ones from the 18th Lunch and Learn, and this was all about budgeting for trees in municipalities. So if you just scroll through real quick, you kind of get a gist of who was there and what they did. And again, lots of other workshops that are kind of being put together now, among municipalities. So if, I can send this deck out to everybody. So you'll then have all of you, including municipal staff, council folks, like that's what Connect does. Connect is, the Congress of Neighborhoods, I think is what they're called. I don't know if we work with them or not. But anyway, but keep going, John. Just again, the Allegheny County Conservation District. So Olivia is the one who sent me all the ordinance information. She was part of our one-on-one meeting. And then, this talks about budgets, budget sizes, what they should be based on population. And again, just,
We all have the deck there, right?
yeah, that's what I mean. There are probably 60 more slides, which
Yeah.
is why I'm saying we're not gonna go through them. but I wanted everybody to have them, because you didn't get them unless you attended these things. So I'm glad that Archie went to this and I went to the other one. So we have both slide decks and, so, yeah. And there's the ICLEI Action Fund. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So they've gotten involved in the, measurements for trees and calculations for. Anyway,
Okay, and any other questions?
yeah,
Thank
thanks
you, Bernie.
everybody. Yeah, thanks everybody for, the support. It's been great.
Okay, let's move next to, community outreach. Ken, can you give us a, recap of the deer presentation September 30th?
Well, a couple of things. First, the archery season did start 2 weeks ago. So the suburban whitetail hunters, through the first 2 weeks of September harvested 15 deer.
Okay, and I apologize, we didn't realize that was going on, we'll put you back on project update for every meeting.
Wow, 15 deer?
That's about what they normally, it's normally all does at this time. They don't harvest the buck until after they harvest the duck. I had a nice 10-point at 20 yards from me for 15 minutes at my house this afternoon. And about a dozen other deer bedded down in my yard. So we had a deer presentation. Janine Flegel from the Game Commission. She's the whitetail biologist for the Game Commission. A number of you were there. We had 47 people there. When I started to speak, I was expecting that there would be some anti-people there, and there wasn't. Everybody is very aware that we have way too many deer. The only issues that really were cropping up was people thought we weren't communicating that well, and I'm not sure how we improved that. And the other part really is ignorance on their part of the game laws and things like that, like one lady wanting somebody to hunt her backyard, but you have 50-yard safety zone and all these game laws and everything like that, that it's not as simple as what she was thinking. So overall, I think it went very well. It was getting a little testy a little bit, and so Jason, the council president, got up and handled some things there that were beyond my ability to deal with. But I think that as we're going forward, continuing to support the suburban whitetail and their archery program, and also further along with doing some more enhanced deer management later this year.
Thank you, and I thought you did a great job. It was just, it was getting intense, and we needed Jason to step up and speak on behalf of the municipality, I think. So, yeah, listen.
Did the recording make it online somewhere?
Yes, it's online.
Okay. And was it then shared to all of the people, the speakers who expressed interest in speaker series?
I'm gonna do that soon.
Okay.
But yeah, it's on our YouTube channel, Facebook. It was in McMail. It's on the homepage. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have formally applied for the expanded, right?
Yes, that paperwork was submitted.
Yeah.
And a couple, like with Bernie's tree program, until we get the deer population under control, to me, it's a very hard thing to do, because anything that's not 10 feet tall, the deer eat, and if it's not more than 6 inches in diameter, the bucks rub their antlers on it and kill it. I'm also very active with American Chestnut Foundation and all that. So this is it says tank on their F2. That means it's pretty resistant and grows pretty much like an American chestnut. These are seeds anybody can have. That means that in 10 years, it'll be about 30 feet tall. And chestnuts have burrs on them, so you don't want to plant them wherever you're going to ever be in bare feet. And then this is a pure straight American. This is from, my neighbor has a surviving American chestnut on her property, and then I had planted a chestnut tree from Musser years ago, and they were both flowering this year. So this is a pure American chestnut. It'll probably live 20, 30 years and then succumb to the blight. But if you plant one of each kind of thing, that's really where we're trying to go with the breeding program. of trying to get as much American in them and still be resistant to the blight. And then these are just hazelnuts. I've got these originally from Swickley probably 30 years ago. And they grow about 15 feet tall. And if you plant a couple of them, you'll have a whole bunch of hazelnuts that you can eat or make coffee or whatever you want to do with them. But they're a good shrub. They only get like 15 feet tall.
Yeah.
So these are free, those are extra seeds. I've spent the last 2 weeks between my chestnut orchards harvesting. I keep track of, I know the genetics of every one of them and all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm glad that that's all done for now. Any questions on the deer program? Those of you that were there, any comments that you have?
I think in addition to what you mentioned, also a lot of the spiciness was around
Tick.
Lyme disease and ticks and that relationship, which I know, as Janine explained, isn't a direct relationship and there's a lot of other things involved, but it seemed like that was a very, I think it's something that we need to touch more on since it does involve the environment. And I think that's something that we'll discuss as we get down towards McMail.
Very, very common misunderstanding of a source of Lyme.
Ticks, yeah.
Well, and you know, with a lot of the larvae and stuff like that, they hang out in the barberry, and that's with North Park. I mean, you have stiltgrass and barberry. That's the only thing that's in the understory now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
we're really an epicenter for all of the tick. I mean, if you look at the data, we're right up in the very top on all that with Lyme disease and everything. And the person that was bringing that up is a rheumatoid doctor.
Ah,
And so he understood the medical part of it very well. He doesn't understand the other part of it very well.
like
He also wasn't willing to learn.
Yeah, he was just wanting to try to convince everybody of his point. Just anecdotally, so I do a lot of mountain biking and a lot of hiking, but so at Boyce Park, Deer Lakes, Heartwood, I see no deer. We biked in Boyce Park last Sunday, no deer. I'll walk in North Park in the woods in 1 hour, I'll see 30. Easily 30, 40, something like, but I mean, in these other parks, and they're huge parks and they're county parks and no deer. Now, maybe, maybe they're spooked, maybe there's a different, maybe just because of there's more people or less people or whatever that it is, but I don't know why they're here as much as they're here, but they are here.
Deer population doubles every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, well, I mean.
And the only thing we harvest, like, as I said in my intro, it's like the suburban whitetail hunters harvested 65 deer last year on McCandless Roads pickup, meaning not including McKnight 19 and not including ones that ran into the woods. We picked up 165 deer last year. So, hunting is very, very hard in suburban communities. And so that's why we're looking at upgrading what we're doing.
Yeah, well, it was well done. It was an excellent session. It was well attended and it was, I think we presented it very, very well. So, thank you, Ken.
And my hope is that if we can get the deer population back to, if you have an area that can hold 100 deer and you have 200 deer in it, which is essentially what we are now, you have to take it down to 50 deer for 5 to 7 years for things to recover. And if we get to that point, that's when we can get into our parks and start getting all of our native wild plants and everything reestablished. But the deer have really devastated the ecosystem that you can't really do any of that at this point in time.
Well, I appreciate your efforts on this, because you educated me that we can't plant anything until you get this managed, so thank you.
Or you have to have a lot of wire around it.
And I did my best to sell the tree tenders course and, what we're trying to do in
Well, it worked.
2026, before Ken kicked it off. Next up then is Community Day recap, and I just have committee here because we were all involved. And I think it all went well, but I mean, Joanna, do you have any suggestions on? I think we need a corner booth for, just because we're
Yes.
trying to do more, we're not just sitting there with, I think we're a very active booth. I think we had a great day, but your thoughts?
I do wonder if having the craft there, especially with the tight booth, took away from one, having the message because it kind of blocked some of the booth. And also, I feel like a lot of people weren't really looking for that in a way. I was able to count exactly how many we did because I had an empty hole punch, and I was hole punching every single one, so we made exactly 24. But looking back through, it's like spending that amount of time, one, that was the amount of time I could have talked about Rain Garden. I could have done more like education on some of my interests and things that where I add to the committee, but instead it's a lot of like making the crafts with the kids.
I was gonna say the same thing. We had a couple hours before Joanna showed up with crafts. We were much more engaged with people
Mhm.
having those discussions. And then the placement of the craft is really where I think there was room for improvement. And even in prior years, we had a craft, but it was sort of off the side, like behind us or something. And it worked better because the booth was able to be that primary vector for those
Mhm.
discussions. But a corner might solve that problem.
Either a corner, or the other thing that I recommended is if they have like a craft area. So if there's other parts of the town that want to have a craft, so say the Heritage Center wants some kind of McCandless craft, and then the EAC could have some kind of McCandless craft. And then, there's other groups in the town that might be able to supply some kind of craft or activity or something that it's gonna be like a kid's corner. But that way, it's something that's completely separate. So if you're looking for something for kids, you go there. But otherwise, if you're looking for information, you want to have that actual conversation, that's a separate place. And that way, the craft corner could maybe be staffed by more volunteers that are like ready to sit there and be there with the kids. And that could be maybe a little bit more with like even some of the high schooler type volunteers. But allow the people that are on the committee to, man more the information booth.
Yeah, I think I actually talked to more people at Master Gardeners about the different things that we do than I did at Community Days.
Yep, good point.
I was gonna say one other thing. We didn't sign up quick enough for student volunteers to assist us. So
That's right.
that was something too.
Yeah.
So in the future, if we will want them, we need to request that.
Yes, yes. I was saying I gave away 260 squishies. So the dumb little recycling game was okay, but is that the right place for it or not? I don't know, but it gets people over there. The point was that I was trying to get kids to play the game while we could engage the parents,
But there was no space.
Yeah, right, that's right, yeah.
Just real quick. So a couple of years ago, we had a booth that was on the end. It was closer to the actual building, and closer to the stage, which was a problem as far as being able to hear whenever everything was being performed. But I know the stage now has moved out into the field and everything. But anyway, we had an end booth, and then they gave us essentially like a second booth space that didn't have a table or anything. It just had a tarp down, and that's where we did all the craft stuff. So the advantage there was that, just like you're talking about, Jeff, when the kids were there, they were right there doing the craft, and then we could be talking to the parents as well. So that's the advantage over having like a separate craft corner for us, is that we have the kids there doing the thing, and then the parents are there standing there, and then we're talking to them also, rather than having them separated a little bit. So I don't know if that's possible to do that again. I know that Community Day is a lot more popular than it was at one point as well, so maybe there might not be space for that. But an end booth with that additional space on the end worked really well for us when we did that.
Well, I think we have a relationship now with Abby that if we requested a end or corner, whether we went to do a craft or not, but just had room to have conversations, I think she would grant that to us. So
Okay.
We'll at least do that. And then we'll determine next year about.
Yeah, I think especially being a committee of the town, that shouldn't be an issue.
Right, and was it Abby or was it somebody mentioned, like, just because of the 175th, one of the considerations was like expanding the amount of time of.
There's
There's-
talk of 2 days. I'm not sure where that is.
Vote
but
against
yeah.
that.
Yeah, like to have a craft and to have people staff for that amount of time, that's a
It's a little
lot
too much.
for 7
Okay.
people on a committee.
My kids say heard.
Yeah. If it was 2 days, we would prefer to only attend for one of them.
Okay.
We can
Yes.
phrase it that way.
Good plan.
Yeah. Not gonna tell you not to do that. but-
Okay, anything else on Community Day?
Did you have any feedback, Bernie?
Just, I mean, when we met and talked trees and what to do, so we were thinking community day, you could do walk and talks about trees and, maybe more informative that way as opposed to trying to squeeze into the booth and go trees, so, maybe sprawling it and making it an activity of the community day.
Walk, that's time, but it's
Yeah.
time to go walk.
Yeah, you would schedule actual
Yeah.
times and you could do, I know you were talking about doing a thing with the kids where, finding certain leaves. I mean, you could do things like that at certain times so that the tree stuff could be planned, timed and coordinated instead of having to fit into the booth with, because that's been the other thing too, is we're doing so much. It's so hard to like squeeze into a 10 by 10 and then say, okay, everybody talk about what you're doing. Cause I signed up a bunch of hunters. I hope you reached out to them. But because I don't know whatever happened to the list.
List gets typed out and opening, so they're all on the sign up list now, so.
Yeah.
We have it on the Google Sheet and on the one in our SharePoint.
Oh, do we? Okay,
Yeah, they're
because
all
I haven't
typed up.
looked, but because I know I sent you but I don't know, Ken, if you ever got the coordination on
No,
that.
but
There were
if,
no notes about hunters specific.
No, there were.
Oh, I didn't have to relook at the picture.
Oh, then I'll take a look too.
Yeah. 'cause it's
Yeah,
on the
and if
calendar.
you,
Like
and if you do
three.
see that,
Yeah, let you know.
well, forward it to Suburban. Because that's really where that needs to go.
Well, if I'll look at the photo I took, but there were notes that said these were just deer hunters. So it was two
Oh,
different.
I saw the word deer. I thought they wanted to do a presentation.
No,
Okay.
yeah, they were deer
Oh.
hunters. And yeah, I thought I would be coordinating more on that list than doing.
I made sure they got. the
White,
email
Whitetail
about
has
signing up.
the school approval process. It's not-
What's up with those guys over
They
there?
were experienced doing.
Oh, that's all you guys in the back.
Do all that.
Yeah, it worked.
Whenever we approved Whitetail coming in, we made sure to understand their approval process of who would be allowed to go to my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
That sort of
And
thing.
then our green space, the parks are open for public hunting. But people, before they do that, need to go down and with the police department and register their hunting license and their driver's license and so.
No, I
and
understood there was a
report.
process,
Yeah.
but I thought you'd call them afterward and I did not realize that the notes were not.
It was not clear.
Yeah,
It's
and I
all-
haven't seen them, so that's also why I didn't comment, so,
It's okay.
I'll try and find that list.
I have that picture you sent, so I'll just,
Okay,
we can pass those things directly
Alright.
to Ken and he can contact them. However, we want to do it. That's fine.
okay.
Just one real quick thing too that I forgot to mention is that Abby had scheduled a nature hike through Wall Park last Thursday. And Jack and I went on that and we had probably like 18, 20 people there. And she did a very good job. I'm gonna draw a blank on her name right now. Katie from the Latotomy Nature Center. And so, it was all people my age, weren't young people there, but, and at the end, I don't think she was expecting any owls, but we had a couple of owls talking to us and stuff like that.
Really?
So it went pretty well and she did a very nice job
Where does
with
the
it.
communication about that go? I didn't even know there was something like that last week.
That's great. Okay, community day, then we're done with that. Okay, moving on, we've already talked about tree tenants and tree adoption. Bernie gave us some numbers in her deck. Going on to Winterfest, the only reason I have that down here is because do we want to participate in Winterfest, which is?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree with that too.
Mhm.
December 6th. So we'll have a booth at Winterfest, so we'll move on that. And Abby's other question to us is, do we want to decorate a tree?
We should. That
Okay,
could be fun.
all right,
Or is
okay.
it too time consuming?
Well, the only reason, see, we looked at a tree, but I say we, and of course, wasn't me at all. But it was Dawn, but Dawn would do something, Ken, I mean, it would be so elaborate. Her stuff was so elaborate, it was fragile, it was these things that you would, if we just decorate just a like just hang some nature things or something or whatever. as
Pine
opposed
cones
to-
and things like that.
Yeah, it was too much. It was too much, but we skipped last year. Because we were in transition, but I will say yes to doing it this year.
I guess we should vote on that.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I think we should do it, and
I like the idea, if we're going to do it for, well, at least decorating the tree, like. Having some idea of how, cause
Maybe with paper towel or toilet paper.
What I was just
something
thinking
simple
was
like that.
what I have access to, I have a bunch of children that I
That's
can.
what I was just thinking,
Yes.
is that there are ways to definitely.
Right, if.
Little
if
kids
we
and
go for like a
recycling and.
To the Center for Creative Reuse and just get a bunch of like stuff that we can recycle. And then I'll just use my
oh, I
work
like
and
that.
take advantage of the fact that I work with children.
They can make nature.
They can make
inspired
nature
things.
and then I will put it on the tree.
Okay,
So
so
you
that's,
volunteered to decorate the tree.
Oh, well, that's kind of, no, the
Sense of a
children,
field
but the
trip.
problem with that is the kids will want to take it home.
well, think about it,
Okay.
but I think the answer should be yes, we should come up with something.
Yes, we can
are-
come up with something.
And
If
it's,
we let them put it on the tree, will they still want to take it home?
They might not be able to get to put.
I-
Well, this I'll discuss what kind.
Kids, if you tell them it's going to be for a very special tree in the town and you are,
Yeah.
like, make it their job, you're going to decorate this town's tree.
Mhm.
and when you
And a
do
student
that,
to
let
make
us know
a,
you don't need
you
to
know.
do that.
That was an ornament.
Yeah.
A bit much.
Think?
Yes, we did it the day up,
Okay.
we did it the day up.
So we don't need to pre-coordinate.
Yeah, I mean, if Winterfest is at 7 o'clock or whatever that is, and it's a little bit later, because, because
It's gonna be a little earlier this year, I think, right?
Yeah, they increased it by an hour, so it's 3 to 7 now.
Oh, geez, okay, well, then we would meet at 2.
Would meet
yeah,
earlier,
Something like that.
yeah,
or 1 o'clock.
How big does the tree need to be?
They're not big trees.
No,
Okay, all right, they're already, okay.
They're small.
Well, we should
Okay,
do
good.
it. That will be fun.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
I hereby.
Okay.
So the answer is that we're going to attend Winterfest, we're gonna have a booth at Winterfest, and we're gonna plant a tree, I'll let Abby know.
The trees from prior years when you're on Mechanics Drive,
And a
on
tree.
the right
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
side,
how
those
about
palm
that?
trees, those were Christmas trees from
Okay.
years before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they all get planted. They're all the.
Yeah,
fall.
decoration.
Oh, that's
Um,
wonderful. Good.
Okay, wonderful, so then we just need to respond back to her, so we'll do that. Next is Parks Master Plan Outreach. I have that on here because I'm just mentioning that tomorrow night is an open house in the Powers Room from 6 to 7:30. If anybody wants to attend, see what the plan is from the committee to address each park, the needs of the community, feedback from the community, get additional feedback. It's happening tomorrow night. I'm just mentioning that. Next up is open initiatives. And I have on here junior EAC member discussion. I know we already started doing that, but Matt and Melissa, I'd really love to set some expectations for Jenna and Nadia and, sort of, what has been successful in the past and things that they can do that's certainly not going to, get in the way of their most important job of school, but something that could be participant and interesting.
Yeah, so for this year, Matt and I are going to act as your mentor, primary points of contact. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We're happy to meet with you outside of our monthly meetings, or we can stick around and chat after our monthly meetings, but come to us with any questions. We actually created little folders with some information that we'll email out to you guys later today or tomorrow, pending timing. It will have information for what we're expecting you to do while you're here, and we'll meet with you and just fill you in on all of the big to-dos for your time with us a little bit later so that we're respectful of everybody's time here. Matt, do you have anything to add right now?
Nope, just welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to have you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, it should be interesting, it'll be fun, we'll work with you, your schedule. And you can participate as much as you want to. And certainly what you're doing tonight is value added to this committee, so so we do welcome you, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what Jeff's talking about. I make no guarantees of fun.
Roadside cleanup update, I put that on here because two things. We should at least we know that we have taken the roadside cleanup and we have formed it into an annual cleanup around Earth Day. It has become the largest single community volunteer event that Canlis has. It's been successful. We get 120 people, no guarantee we'll get it again. We picked up 200 and some bags for the past couple of years. We expect that we'll do that again this year. We have buy-in. I have emailed to the town manager, the date. I've talked to Chief Hawk about police coverage, for budget purposes. I've asked for 5 details again this year. We've secured the DPW's participation again. But we also have to have the discussion about, do we do it in the fall? And I know it is the fall right now. We've done it around this date. I vote that we do not. I vote that we don't water down what we have, the product that we have, and we just look to the spring. But I wanted to open that up for the committee.
Are we required to do 2 cleanups a year though?
We are
Or
required to do one thing. The EAC is required to do the Adopt a Highway cleanup.
Correct,
Is that
twice a
correct?
year, yes.
Right.
And last year, there was a smaller one in the fall just for that purpose.
Mhm.
so I would say that we do need to do that, just to
Yeah.
make sure we hit that requirement.
Okay, great. So,
Mhm.
so with that, so do we agree then we are not going to have a community-wide fall cleanup?
Not this year.
Not this year. Okay, I agree. And then secondly, we do need to adopt a highway date. So there is an adopt a highway for the EAC, which is when you go on Ingomar through the park, past the soccer fields, there's a clover leaf, 4 ramps, and that's our adopt a highway. And it might take, literally it might take an hour to clean it up, something like that. But we have to do that twice a year, John. We have to report to you how many bags we get.
Mhm.
So we should work on a day, coming up in October, well, November, really. We can do it in November. We should work on a day that 3 of us can go there, 4 of us can go there, 3 of us and a student member can go there, something like that, and we'll knock it off in an hour on a Saturday morning. So, I will send an email to the committee, propose some dates. And then people can just come back and say yes, no, and all that. So, yes.
What's the name of the road that it is?
The Cloverleaf.
It's the ramps that get you on and off.
Midnight Road.
From Ignite Road to Ingomar.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got it. All right, thank you.
I don't know if they have names.
Yeah, last year it was Mark, a past committee member, and his wife and 2 children,
Mhm.
and I think it was me and Melissa. Yeah, we did it. in-
Had COVID.
Mhm.
That was.
Yes, you were, right.
Yes,
Come.
I was signed up to come and then
Yes,
couldn't.
yes, but the point is that it's not a lot of work and it's not a lot of time commitment,
Mm-hmm.
so we can do it and fulfill our commitment, which most people that have adopt the highways do not. So we will set the example that we will. Okay, so I will follow up on that. No fall cleanup. Okay, so miscellaneous, open EAC position. John, can you give us an update on that, please?
Yeah, we have 3 formal applicants for that one position right now. The deadline is the 27th, that's Monday.
Okay.
There was a 4th person who inquired but hasn't submitted an application yet. And there actually was a 5th person who also applied for Planning Commission and Zoning Hearing Board. So since we have so many applicants, I just decided to let them, the zoning people take them for now. So yeah, we still have a few more weeks, but we're in pretty good shape.
So October 22nd or 27th, you said?
Yes, that's a Monday, and that'll be the
3
deadline.
applicants.
Yep.
Okay. Okay,
And is this for the 4-year position? or
It's for a
is it
partial
your-
position.
Okay,
I think it's 2028, so it's still mostly full,
okay.
but
yeah, so 2.5 years or so.
yeah.
Um,
It will take months though, right, to find somebody? Like, doesn't it take months to?
No,
No,
we'll
it should.
interview probably that week.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we can schedule them all in a row and then,
Mhm.
yeah, council vote on them soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually will, with this, whenever the application period closes, then we get the list of applicants. John will email it, probably Nick and myself, and say, when are you available? Can you do this time?
Yeah.
Nick will not be available till after the election day. I can tell you that for a fact, though. Let's keep that in mind if you want him part of the process. But then really, we make our decision that day and bring it up to council.
So, with all due respect to Nick, if we want to move faster, would you then be?
I would have been on it anyway as the alternate,
Okay.
so it would be typically it's Nick and myself
Mhm.
and what, probably you, Jeff,
And
or,
Melissa,
yeah.
yeah.
So the next alternate could possibly be Jack.
Okay,
So I don't think Nick would have an issue. He would understand, but I do know where his time is very thin right now
yeah,
until election day.
okay, good. Yeah, I'd like to fill that seat.
When would council, they wouldn't join us until December.
No, if we go that week. October the 27th, it's Monday. If we got it done that week, the next council meeting after that would be November 10th. We'd vote them in on November.
When's our
That's on
next,
12.
okay. So give them 2 days to,
Yeah, I mean, we move pretty quickly on these appointments.
That day. it was in the-
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Great. Next is the McMilton. And I think that Joanna sort of anchored us to what the people want. I think it is the right answer, but
I'm kind of curious which direction, or if we want to have a dual one there though, because it's one thing to talk about ticks and, not having ticks in your yard. It's another one if we want to talk about specifically Lyme disease.
yeah, I don't know that we want to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take counter arguments, but I think de-ticking your yard maybe is something that would be, the EAC in the EAC's wheelhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're not medical professionals.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
not in that way, no.
We've framed it as the garden and lawn leaves topic.
Right.
We can tie
Yeah.
that to the
Yes.
ticks.
And that's not a problem for me. It will probably be called TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Just
So,
letting you guys know now.
I mean, that's what we did last year, right?
That-
Didn't we use that same thing last year?
We used garden and lawn leaf topic, not something called TikTok.
We definitely used TikTok at some point
It
because I
needs to be,
remember.
because it's too good of a pun.
Please do.
Okay,
yeah, that's a good one. They were stressing, bird feeders in your yard, and it was surprising that people would we only have ours up in the winter because of the ticks. And the winter birds are fantastic, but just simple things like that. Just, you let AI walk us through simple things like that. Okay, so we have a topic, and we have a topic presenter. Very good. Michaela's 175th update, the only reason I'm giving that is because what we talked about before is that it seems like other than being on the committee and offering just, our thoughts from the EAC standpoint, it is the tree canopy program that is, specific to us that I'm representing and we're representing on that committee. So just letting you know that there's nothing else from the EAC other
Well, the
than
whole
that.
legacy tree thing that I think Ken and Matt had been helping, I mean, obviously Archie is now like, when's it gonna land? And I had it on the agenda, but I really want to coordinate with these guys on how that.
the only thing I've really done with the trees was what I pulled up from that publication.
Mhm.
I gave to everybody and I think there's a lot more older trees that just haven't been recognized. I mean, the oak trees at my house, the one when we cut it down, I got it back to 1846 and it wasn't one of the big ones.
Really? So is there a way to, document the ones that are 175 years old?
We-
How
we
do
have-
we find them?
Well,
We need to figure this out, Ken.
they're basically gonna be white oaks.
So should we, I mean, as part of the tree inventory that, I'm working on,
White oaks that are greater than 30 inches in diameter,
okay.
DBH is the
Right.
that's about that big.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how big that, I have a red oak in my yard that's pretty big, but
Red oaks only live to be about 110, 120.
Well, that's what, like, one of the things with the committee, you know, we were talking about possibly, like, somebody brought up yard signs and we kind of all voted against yard signs. But that might be something, if you did have a tree, to put a sign in your yard and say, proud, you know.
Old as McCandless or something like that.
Yeah, proud supporter of 175, you know, one of the oldest trees in McCandless. Yeah, or a proud parent. I don't know, what are you when you are, have trees in your yard? I hate to say, Stewart, that's it. I'm always thinking in terms of parenting.
Okay, so Ken, you and I still have some work on that, but yes, that is.
But I think that'd be fun, a community engagement kind of thing. Just
No, I agree, but I think identifying them and then making that kind of a big celebratory, you
Mhm.
know.
Or we're making it a community challenge to
Mhm.
find the big trees like that, because.
Yeah. And then everybody who
Yeah.
puts in their name that says, come and check out my tree, should be in a raffle for a prize or something like
Yeah.
that. There should be.
Interesting thought. So maybe what we use is a mail or some other medium to say, do you have a tree in your yard that is more than 30 inches diameter? The EAC would like to see your tree. It may be as old as, I mean, maybe we send this out and, yeah.
I'm gonna, you know,
And
call it like the
and
tree.
putting them in a raffle, I think is a reason to respond.
Yeah.
Or we then send, you know, somebody out who can identify them and their age, and we give plaques or, you know, maybe not to your point, the yard sign, but something more
Mhm.
significant to, I don't know how many would find, but it's not gonna be that many. I mean, what are we gonna find, 10, 20?
You're gonna find them in clumps, because
Okay.
what they were, those are the trees that when this was all farmland and things, those were the areas that they kept shaded for the cows and things like that.
So, but if we could call it like the Legacy Tree Challenge and then ask the community to do that, and then I'd like to
Yeah.
work on the language and communication and how that ties
Their own
in.
yard, if they find it in the park or something, they can nominate it.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, there's some big ones in the park and I don't know if those would. I don't know how old they are, I don't know how,
In that publication, most of them were in the park.
I remember seeing that.
so what's the best time of year to do that if we want to make it, you know, like,
Wintertime's good, because
Yeah.
yeah, you can see
It might
everything.
be, you know, come out a months long outreach and then have the grand announcement, the winner. Everything's gonna kind of be big around Community Day.
Oh, really?
So-
that's not till September.
Right, unless we do something in July, which. And I don't know if you heard, they're talking about 5K again.
What if we did like, well, can I work on this a little bit where maybe it's like
And of
a
course, John looked at me and
6-month challenge of. we'll find a
Okay, that's the
legacy
one,
tree,
yes.
And then, you know, we
Very
get
well.
the
We
vote
advertise pretty
submitted, we
heavily,
get
yeah.
them assessed, we send somebody to
Okay.
verify, and then we kind of do something, whether it's July or, you know, Community
Right.
Day.
Okay, can we set this up in like a December, because we have November's McMail tip. December's McMail tip is normally what? Might be winter pruning.
We have
No.
a bunch of topics.
that's not until January, February.
Okay,
December, we have done sustainable holiday tips, deer management, solar, stormwater runoff, phone books, and recycling historically. for-
okay, so there's no
Yeah,
theme
no
there.
set
So,
theme.
you know, do we sort of set it up there and say,
Or we should wait till the 175 kickoff though, because.
Yeah, and do it,
in-
like what I'm thinking,
Okay.
yeah, January through June,
Mhm.
cause I think give people time to find them or
Right.
identify it,
Okay,
hear
okay.
about it, right? I don't
Yeah,
want.
let their neighbors,
Yeah,
yeah, hey, that tree might win that prize, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Neighbor
and
to
let's come
neighbor.
up with maybe a decent
Mhm.
prize or prizes, you know, some way. I mean, we talked about plaques, but maybe there's something else we can come up with on.
yeah, Matt, you have some thoughts?
Yeah, it just sounds like a really good social media opportunity to me. People posting, create a hashtag for it. I mean, that's the way to create social media buzz, right? Get those
Yeah.
trees on video and on Instagram and create a tree filter.
Mhm.
And tell them to go out and hug a tree, and if they can't get their arms around it, it's probably.
Yeah.
We need two people. Two people can't.
Okay, so we have a plan now
Yeah,
for this.
yeah,
This is great.
yeah. Let me work on how that can coordinate into both the 175th.
Yes.
The, keep us posted on Community Day, or why would they do it in July? Would it be a separate event?
Because we wanted to, we wanted, because there's gonna be multiple events throughout the
Okay.
year. And the actual birthday is March, but not sure what the weather, and also trying not to overlap too much with the Easter egg hunt.
Oh,
Because at first we were talking about extending Easter egg hunt and going into birthday party.
I see.
But then some parents in the group said, no, my kids are too hyped up on the Easter egg hunt. I'm not sticking around for a piece of cake. So
So Kate will be involved in the actual party?
for the birthday party, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and possibly a chili cook-off.
Ooh, that. I volunteer.
I think maybe that tree thing could also be a good opportunity to get the schools involved, because I know we've done similar things, like if you can find like the biggest plant or grow the biggest cabbage or whatever you want to prize.
Yeah,
So maybe if you can get all the little elementary school kids to go in their backyard, see if they can find a big tree, I don't know.
yeah.
Okay.
And that gives you very dispersed viewing of things.
Yeah.
All right, good, well, I'm excited for making it kind of a competition or a challenge for people to go find it. Yeah, all right, well, good, well, let me work kind of with some of the language, and we'll clearly work with John on, coming back with that. The writer in the group, but good, that's exciting. Anything else like that you think we should be tying in, both Trish and Jeff? You guys seem to have the feedback on how to tie into the 175th.
Well, I think that is it. I think that's our footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we, the Abby's doing a great job, a lot of like really cool ideas coming forward. Even she's expanding these ideas to the point where even getting that brewery that just opened up in Duncan Manor is going to make a McCandless brew for us and on the 175th. Yeah, so really some fun stuff, but I think if this committee does that oldest tree in the community and just pushes that hard, it's gonna bring the eyes on, because if you do too many things, then it'll dilute itself.
No, I agree. So, yeah, but I like the idea of, launching it, do it as a 6-month, treasure hunt almost for,
Right.
The treasures of McCandless kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
All right,
Okay, great. Next up is the regional EAC reboot, which I talked about last month, I believe.
I have something to mention on that subject as well.
Okay.
I get emails from the We Can Serve PA group. There's actually an EAC network fall gathering event being held on November 15th. Anybody can attend, but it's all the way out on the other side of the state.
It's just, I saw that.
Yeah, so
I saw that
just wanted
too.
to share that
Yeah.
is an event. It is happening. I was gonna
I
try to
think,
make it out, but I can't.
I think they videotape that, and you can
do
see the different sessions,
Okay,
if you care to.
okay. That's
Yeah,
really
it
interesting.
used to, I don't know if they still offer it, but there used to be a virtual offering because we presented at it 2 years ago.
It was in February, so maybe it's this is not that.
Oh,
This
okay,
is whenever that
a
comes
different
up,
EAC meeting.
Yeah, we'll get a group membership again. And please remember that we do have a larger budget, so anything that we buy for anything is, it's in our budget.
Yeah, Matt, this one is specifically called Environmental Advisory Network Fall Gathering, 1-day in-person education and networking event.
Oh,
So-
gosh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if they record this one, but the main goal is networking.
what was the date again?
November 15th, that's a Saturday, and it's in Malvern, PA, MALVERN.
Oh,
Things are very, very different over in Eastern Pennsylvania. From my experience on a Chestnut board,
Yeah,
we're very, very different in how we do things in Western Pennsylvania
no, they do
as to
this.
how they do things in Eastern Pennsylvania.
That's there.
The Okay, next up, so anyways, on that, I reached out to everybody who was at the last gathering, EAC gathering, and I only heard back from Pine. So they were the only ones that were interested in doing this, and it's basically their chair of the EAC, who I know, is Stewart on Irwin Road. So I didn't get any bites from anybody else, from Hampton, from Ross, from Cranberry, from anybody else saying, yeah, we're all in. So I'll, if I hear from anybody, I'll let you guys know, but right now it's sort of, we'll just do that. 2026 speaker series. Maybe we should just table that until next meeting. Yeah, let's, we don't need to rush into that.
The only thing I'd say there is that our goal was with that is to do one a quarter.
Okay.
That was our original goal with that.
That goes in line with what Bernie was
Yeah.
suggesting, 2 tree ones, 2 others, so.
I have 3 ideas in my head, but we'll figure
Yeah.
out.
Okay, but let's table that until next time, and, okay. Trish, report from town council. please.
Honestly, I don't have anything prepared. I wasn't aware I'd be attending here, but if there's any questions, we did pass 2 ordinances that did get the attention of a lot of people. One is leash ordinance in our town, which may have some environmental impact. I know in my yard, I've found treasures left behind by unleashed dogs and owners that haven't picked up. So all of that is now in an ordinance. So you must have your dog on a leash no longer than 10 feet. And unless that dog is on your property, and if the dog's on your property, obviously it must be controlled either by fencing, whatever. The other ordinance that's gotten attention is the solicitation. So you can now enroll your name to be on a do not solicit list. So anybody, we always had the solicitation ruling, but this has gotten a little stronger. The fines have gotten heavier. So this is in response to a lot of requests from our neighbors about having people knock on their doors.
Unless they're seeking office.
Unless they're seeking office or religious groups too.
Oh, is that right? So they're exempt?
Yes.
Okay.
So religious and election related.
Yeah.
About like a Girl Scout group.
Well, the Girl Scouts is like considered like nonprofit. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think about, the guys that were going around on the hoverboards last year with the,
Yeah.
and I'd say, well, let me see your permit. And they pull out like a gum wrapper. I'm like, buddy.
Also find like a non-solicitation list, like are those companies?
So if somebody knocks on your door and says, I'm from XYZ Exterminators, I want to come. And you would say, you can ask them for the permit. If they can't produce it, you can say, I'm going to call, the police. But what you want to do is you contact the town, and who do they go through on the
It's through the
town?
police department.
And you just say your name, this is my name, I live on 123 Main Street, and I want to be on the do not solicit list. And so these people who come to the town and get a permit have to use that list then. So they can't go to your house.
Have a permit and they have the list too, or they don't have. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank
There's
you,
a
Trish.
there's a form you can fill out online as well.
Last I checked, there was at least 1,100 addresses around the list now since Friday afternoon.
Oh, wow, okay.
Do you know how many it was originally?
There were 0,
Oh.
literally, we announced it Friday afternoon and then
Yeah.
the emails started pouring in.
Okay. Okay, next up is topics for next month. I have Winterfest.
Mhm.
I'll report from the Parks Master Plan open house. Anything new regarding the McCandless 175th? 2026 speaker series ideas. And an update on the Bird Town resolution, which John has asked me for, and for facts for John Schwind. I wasn't prepared to do that, so I will put those together for you in the next couple of weeks, John.
Mhm.
We'll go to one of the meetings. Any other topics for next meeting? Okay. Very good. So with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. So I can have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
All in favor?
don't forget if you want any nuts. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
I
all the
will-
honey that you don't think I'm gonna give Bernie.
So
I think a picture of the bag with the nuts. so
Yeah,
I know
that's what I was
it is.
exactly